pressing unboxing video. This one is going to be different than a lot of others I've done because, for starters, there's just one piece in here, and it's a comic book. It's not a sports magazine. So hold on, don't go anywhere. I get it. I try and stay in my lane. I stick to sports. I think I did like 1 or 2 sports card submissions that I did. Talked a little bit about comics before in the past. Look at that. Got a haircut today. It's all tight. This is like the summer length, so I don't sweat all day long. I look aerodynamic. That's pretty good. So I don't normally do comics. I try and stay in my lane, but this one was really interesting, and I thought it gave me an opportunity to tell some good information because it's a Kraken press. So a lot going on here. Let's talk about what we got. This is Deadpool versus X-Force #1. September 2014. This has been autographed by J. Scott Campbell and Stan Lee. But if you look closely, this is not a signature series. This is one of the new JSA authenticated pieces. Now keep in mind, if this was a signature series, there's nothing I could do about this. The whole idea of signature series is that once it's autographed, it is in CGC's possession the entire time until it gets slabbed. It's kind of that higher level of authentication. And so if this were signature series and I were to crack it and send it back in to get regraded, you'd lose the signature series completely. And because Stan Lee has now passed away, you'd never ever get that back again. So JSA authenticated comic book, 9.6. By the way, this is one of my customers, Rick. So Rick, shout out to you. I told him, I looked at it closely and he sent me the grader notes. Man, there's a lot of talk about here. I sent this to Rick. I looked at everything. I was like, Rick, it's pretty much a crapshoot. Could get a 9.8, could come back a 9.6. The grade could even go down. And he said, you know what, mother trucker? Let's do it. And I like that. I'm a gambling man. What are we doing here if we're not having fun and taking some risks? And always going for that 9.8. So I love it, Rick. You're risking it here because this could go either way. Let's talk about grader notes. He sent me the grader notes. The only thing on the grader notes, we talked about a small crease on the bottom right. Now, especially when it comes to Kraken press, a lot of people put a lot of weight in the grader's notes. Do not do that. Grader notes are one small piece of information in a big pie full of information that you need before you decide to crack a valuable piece, press it, and get it regraded. Why is that? Well, a couple of reasons. Grader's notes are not all-inclusive. So just because the only grader note was this small crease does not mean that's the only flaw on there. It's just the only one the grader decided to mention. The other thing about grader's notes is that just because it says it has a small crease, that doesn't mean it can be fixed in pressing. There are plenty of flaws that you will see mentioned in grader notes that are permanent flaws that no presser in the world is ever going to be able to fix. So be careful about how much weight you put into grader notes when it comes to making the decision about whether to crack and press and regrade. They're useful. I like them. I use them myself. But it is one small piece of information, and nothing can replace seeing something, having it in your hands, having it being looked at in person by an expert, somebody that has done this hundreds and thousands of times. So that's a key piece of the puzzle here. Let's go take a look. We'll get it cracked. I'll press it, and I'll show you the before and after results. Here we go. You know how I do this. I'm a go big or go home kind of guy. Time to get this thing cracked. Mini sledgehammer time. All right, cracked out of the slab. You know what I'm going to do with this? You know, I'm going to mail this back to CGC. You know why? Because I'm not a jackass. A jackass takes this and throws it in the trash because they only care about themselves. If you care about the hobby and everybody's enjoyment of it, you mail these back to CGC, they remove them from the census. An accurate census is important for all of us. Okay, I've said this a million times. Getting it out of the hard plastic case is the easy part. The more difficult and risky part is removing it from this soft inner sleeve, and that's because you just don't have much room for error on the sides here to do some cutting. So, gonna take my time, take it out of the soft plastic sleeve right now. All right, here it is. Deadpool versus X-Force 1 in its original form unslabbed. So let's review everything. Right there, tiny little spine tick. Got another little one there. Just a little bit. Let me move my light over. Just a little one there. Another little one there. These don't break color, so that's good. Everything else looks nice. A little bit of waviness in the middle right there. There's the guy. Man, that is the lightest crease. You can barely see it. Not sure that pressing is going to clean that up or not, but we'll give it our best shot. And then just a little bit of waviness there. Everything clean on the back so far. A little bit of waviness along the bottom. You can see it there. I don't know if you can see this because it's on the white part. There's a little baby spine tick right there. And then a little bit of waviness on the top in the middle. I don't see any issues on the surface. I also don't see any surface issues on the front. Let's get to work, get it pressed, and make this baby a 9.8. It's been cleaned, it's been pressed. Now let's look at the results. If you remember, let's get this light in here, had a bunch of little spine ticks. They didn't break color, but they ran down all length of the spine here. There were several of them. All of those came out perfectly, very nice and clean. This was the greater note issue. Let's see if I can get a good focus and light on this. Look, in the right light, you can still see a faint little crease there on the corner. So we're going to be rolling the dice with CGC to see what happens on this one. And then back here, we had a tiny little spine tick that came out really nice. This is as good as this one's going to get. Fingers crossed for that 9.8. Well, there you have it. Deadpool versus X-Force #1 from 2014, autographed by Stan Lee. It was a 9.6. We're hoping it's good enough to get a 9.8, but man, Rick, I appreciate your guts and rolling the dice on that. That's part of what makes this hobby fun, is always shooting for those 9.8s, even when the odds are stacked against you. If you are interested in my comic and magazine cleaning and pressing service, you drop a comment here on YouTube. You find me on social media. Same username is here, CGC Sports Illustrated, and you shoot me a DM. Appreciate you watching this, as always. Thanks so much.